Hey besties, it's Rosie. Besties, today I am picking up on a very high level pair of counterparts. These could be twin flames, these could be high level soulmates, these could be really whatever label you subscribe to a high level spiritual pairing of two opposing yet complementary counterparts. So, bestie, I'm getting a very long, winding road message about the journey that these two counterparts have been on to try to come together in this lifetime. And bestie, it has been an uphill battle to say the least. And maybe this reading today will give you some perspective on why that is and why it has been so difficult. Bestie, I'm getting that while this Empress figure, while the Divine Feminine in this pairing has been preparing a place, the Emperor has been doing something also. But I want to show you these two cards because I think this demonstrates the two energies of these concepts very well. So the Empress is a sanctuary, and the Emperor is a fortress. Now, I want you to realize that in both of these cards, there are various aspects of these elements present in both of them. So you've got water, greenery, and elevated structure. Over here, that's water in the background, and you have this fortress built around the sea. Bestie, I'm getting that both of these counterparts are learning how to create and maintain a safe, sacred container for something blessed, I'm hearing. Bestie, both of these counterparts were given a mission. They were given elements to master in this lifetime, and I think it's interesting that both of these counterparts were given the same elements, but they were given them from two different perspectives. So for the Empress, we have the tides. For the Emperor, we have the tides, okay? The Empress has been learning to sail on these open seas. And if you look, there is a second boat in this photo. So the Empress might have been given some kind of companion for this journey. I'm getting that for, okay, so I'm remembering this dream I had about twin flames where there was a car with a license plate that said 404. And I would get in the car and I would drive for a little bit. I would get to a stopping point. I would get out of the car. I would get into another car with the same license plate, 404, and keep driving. Bestie, this is kind of like almost like a baton that you hand over, like a relay. You know, if you don't have one counterpart that you can do this journey with who isn't like ever present with you, there are other counterparts that can come in, soulmates, you know, souls that were part of like a larger soul conglomerate at one point in your soul's journey. They can kind of come in and act in this capacity, act in the capacity of a twin, so you can continue on the journey. And I'm getting that the feminine in this journey has been taking a very long, winding, emotional journey, you know, learning to master these deep waters by staying on top. I'm getting that while she's been doing that, the masculine counterpart has been learning to survive in the shallow waters. I'm getting that this counterpart might have very pronounced water placements. So they might be somebody who has this very deep water energy. Maybe they have a lot of water even in their big three. Maybe their moon is a water sign or something of that sort. But this person was placed into circumstances in their life where they had all these deep emotions, but the circumstances did not really allow them to go out there. Maybe it wasn't safe, okay? Maybe they had parents who were not emotionally safe. And so this person has kind of made a career of learning to have respect for the deeper waters, but to kind of stay in the shallows, to know how to survive in those. Meanwhile, the feminine has been learning to kind of skim across the top of those deeper waters. Instead of staying in the shallows, she's learning how to be buoyant, you know, in the deep end. Now, on the other side of that, you know, there's the emotional waters, there's the consciousness that they're mastering. They're also mastering, and I think it's interesting in this deck, it's called the Suit of Spires. In traditional tarot, this would be the Suit of Swords, but in this deck, it's always depicted by mountains. So think of this as like a pyramid, okay? Like a peak of energy concentrated at the top that reaches some higher perspective, some higher energy. So for the feminine, she's been creating this path. You know, there's kind of this golden bridge path through these spires. She is learning to connect, almost like weave these different thought forms, these different versions of her consciousness together to create something. Okay, I just saw something specific. I don't really know how to explain this. So let's say that you were given a handbell to ring. Have you ever seen those handbells? There's just like one bell on a stick and you just kind of ring it. Instead of having one bell to ring, this feminine I'm getting, this collective of feminines, she kind of has like, I'm seeing almost like a bell with like a ton of little bells on it. And when she rings that handbell, it's like a bunch of little bells that ring at once. That's kind of what she has been doing, you know, rather than kind of creating this one giant bell, she is creating all these tiny little bells that ring in unison. This might be, this feminine might have 11th house placements. She might be someone who finds things. I'm getting almost like this person who kind of like finds things and then puts them where they go, almost like a scavenger hunt type energy. And this might even be souls. This might be someone who likes to travel a lot. This might be someone who's just like lucky in meeting people out in the wild. Like maybe this feminine leaves her house and she just has like enchanted encounters all the time. There's something about her where she is like finding these different pieces and putting them together. I'm almost getting like this Isis energy from this feminine where she's kind of going around and gathering these different pieces. Meanwhile, the masculine, also mastering spires, but this masculine has been placed in some pretty difficult situations, to say the least. Okay, this is a very formidable terrain. This is ice. These are icy mountains that he has been tasked with climbing. So, bestie, I'm getting that this person, I won't say they have a lot of endurance. I will say that they have had to develop a lot of endurance because of the things that they have undertaken in this lifetime. Bestie, I am getting that this person, depending on where you're at in your journey, depending on where you think you are in the mastery of these two elements that you have been given to master with this person, I am getting that this person is kind of rounding the bend. I'm getting almost this energy from the feminine that you're kind of doing like joy laps at this point. Like maybe you have already completed this journey. You're just kind of waiting for this other person to scale their mountains. And bestie, I'm getting that I don't know how else to say this. I'm getting that because you had like a bit of an advantage when you started. And not to say that you were advantaged when you started, but you started either from a little higher up or maybe a little sooner than this other counterpart. So you might be really impatient because it seems like this person is lagging behind. But bestie, that's not actually what's happening. They just took on like a smaller, harder lesson. So your lesson is kind of in going around, you know, doing all these different things. And in this person, you know, there's only like 4 or 5 mountaintops on this one, but they're icy. Okay, there was like a difficulty attached to this. So while you're sitting here impatient, like when is my freaking counterpart gonna get here? Like, where is my empress? Like, what is he doing? Sorry, emperor, what is he doing? He's out here scaling these icy mountains, bestie. Like, it's not really that easy. But I do want to say that there is a homecoming in place. I'm getting that at the end of this journey, there's almost this element of like this masculine coming home, like sailing home, following this North Star. Like, okay, I've done what I've set out to do. Okay, I'm getting a very specific message. Have you guys read the book, The Alchemist? I'm getting the plot of that book, how there's kind of this cyclical journey where I started out and at the very end of the book, like I get to the same place and I realize that like the thing I was looking for was here all along, but I didn't yet have the wisdom or the knowledge or the know-how to be able to sustain it or even see it for what it was. So I am getting that, like, I don't know where in the journey you are. If you would like me to look into that for you, please book a personal reading with me. I'd love to look into that for you. But with this particular masculine, it looks like he is finally sailing home. Bestie, I think we're gonna have to go to a part 2. See you there.